about what evangelism is and what the coming of Christ was all about. He says, enemy-occupied territory. That is the story of Christianity. But the scriptures say the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. He already owns it. You know, at the turn of this millennium, we're almost into the beginning of the end of this decade. Starts, and we all know that the fake millennium is 2000. It's actually 2001. But in New Zealand, where I come from, and those of you who don't know me, I come from a tiny little country in the bottom of the world called New Zealand with a bunch of sheep in it and stuff. Closest place to us is Antarctica. And then Australia across the road, that's about 1,200 miles away. And on the dawn of the new millennium, we have a town in New Zealand, and it is where the sun first rises in the world. We are the uttermost part of the earth from Jerusalem. So we're one on Greenwich Mean Time Zones. So when something happens in the world, it happens first in New Zealand. So I was there right on the dawn of the new millennium with about 30,000 close friends. That's what you get on Facebook. About 4 in the morning, and watched the sun of the new millennium coming up over the horizon about that time. We were right by the beach and looking out across the waters. And as that sun came up slowly, just making gold and red that whole horizon, I thought of it from the rising of the sun to the going down of the sun. The Lord's name is to be praised. So I look for revival to spread across the world. And I'm so glad I've been privileged to be part of seeing what God has done again and again and again. And those of you who don't know, we have been working on a massive project, and I thought I'd show you a little bit of this. Those of you who are in-crowd people already know what it is, but we have been working on a study Bible on revival. And I just wanted, this thing started a decade ago. It's commissioned during 2000 for a release in 2001. It was supposed to come out in the new millennium. And Thomas Nelson was the largest Christian publisher in the world. 2 city blocks of Nashville were the ones who commissioned it. And my friend Steve Hill, who was involved with Brownsville, was right in the middle of revival. It's hard to write about revival when you're in one. And he was going to bed at 2 in the morning and then getting up at 5. Well, God waking him up and giving him the next message for that. He did this for almost 6 years. And that was the longest running revival in church in America's history.
Wow.
And revival isn't scary. It can kill you. These bodies were not designed for heaven, and revival is like a temporary visit to heaven. So revival is supposed to be a short thing. And then you're supposed to revive. You shouldn't have to get revived every day. Once you're revived, then you can just stay revived. So, but we need these strange interventions of God, where His time coincides with human time, and His purposes for our whole race flow together, and it's something that can't be explained by busing programs or by advanced Sunday school techniques or the administration of business principles finally to the church to get their act together. This can only be explained that the Maker, the one who made it all, comes and enters our time again and shows up. And He doesn't do this too often because it's scary. Not for Him, but for us. I know people go, why doesn't God just show Himself? Like just show up right here. You ever heard of spontaneous combustion? People come and there's just like these clothes and these shoes and socks, but there's ash there. There's nobody. That's probably some idiot who said, show you. He has to dumb himself down even to talk to us. So this book is God for Dummies. But every now and then, when history gets in a bad way, and this nation is like that now, we have trouble in this country. And we realize it, but we don't yet realize it. There is an apathy in this nation. just sort of, hey, it'll get better. It always does, doesn't it? The answer is no, it doesn't. Second law of thermodynamics says it will run down unless something is into that system, from outside that system, applies higher power, higher intelligence to reorder and restructure that. It's not going to happen naturally. So if you sit back and you watch, you will watch the destruction of this nation. But if somebody bigger than us, outside our system, somebody who is both in it and bigger than it, they intervene in our time, then restructuring is possible, re-beginning is possible. And that is my prayer and my hope for this nation that has given so much to the world. Revival. We need God. There's a lot of definitions and descriptions. The New Study Bible we have, I'm going to show you a little bit of it because we've got I've got a front matter thing. This little thing here is called, see if I can find it now. I think this is it here. This is what it'll look like. Not quite as big as this, of course, but it's thicker. It's 4,000 pages, 2,000 size, and thought you'd like to see the dedication to it. Dedicated with love and affection to those multitudes of men and women of God who trusted, prayed, preached, and practiced what God had given them for their generation. To give us who follow an inheritance of his marvelous acts, that the Lord of all the church over the past 2,000 years might be given all the glory, worship, and honor due his name, for such visitations of mercy and grace to the children of mankind. Revelation 14:13, their works do follow them. So, the general editors, we are just donkey boys, we put stuff together. But it's actually not our work. It's the work of 2,000 years of God's intervention in human history. As far as we know, this is the first Bible that has church history all the way through it. Not which Pope killed which Protestant or vice versa, but when the church was behaving itself and living like God told it to, what they preached and taught and saw. And it is also the first Bible we know of that has supernatural church history. I'm not afraid to say that God is a God of miracles. The scriptures doesn't say Jesus Christ the same yesterday and yesterday and yesterday. That he is still alive and he is still doing stuff. And I don't worship a dead man on a stick. He's off that cross and he's alive. The symbol of Christianity is not a cross. It's an empty cross. He's not there anymore. And the trouble with writing any kind of book on revival is that you'll never finish it. Matter of fact, we're thinking of putting a whole bunch of blank pages in the back of this so you can write down what happens when you get hold of this. I just want to share a couple of the cool things in here. Some of you. You should read all these books, by the way. It'd be embarrassing to go to heaven and you run into like Hosea or something. So, sorry I didn't get to read your book. I'm sure it's great. You can read the whole Bible out aloud for 72 hours and 40 minutes. We had a marathon, everyone was in marathon dance competitions. We said we have a marathon Bible read. So behind the town hall in Auckland, and we had kids just reading the Bible till they died, and we dragged them off and put the next person on. It took 72 hours and 40 minutes. So, yeah. I think people think the revival is sort of a... Matter of fact, some people actually teach us that since they think there's only like a few, maybe 30 words, the word revival itself doesn't appear in one, but revive does, another. But there's only about like 30 times, and they say, well, most of that's in the Old Testament. The only time revival appears in the New Testament is in terms of evil. So many people think that after we got the Bible, we didn't need miracles anymore. We didn't need Jesus intervening in things anymore. So it kind of wound up the universe and walked out on us. And I don't think he did. I think he's still around and he's still doing everything that he did before. And if we listen to him and do it, this is a little study. By the way, my definition of revival is very simple. I've got many, many ones I've collected, but here's my Texan one. Revival happens when God gets so sick of being misrepresented by the people who say they know him that he comes in person to kick butt and take names. These are some of the characteristics of a revivalist. But what is interesting is that there isn't just 30 words for revival in the Bible. There are actually 50 synonyms for the word revive: awaken, awakening, new, restore, see that? 50 synonyms. And when you put these synonyms into the study chain, which one of the general editors has put together, this is a lady who has done inductive Bible studies since she was 8 years old. She has done studies on 44,000 Bible subjects. But this is one of, you've got a 3-volume, 300,000 word study on the word worship. And what's interesting, I mean, this much of it is music. There's all kinds of other ways you can worship God too. By your life, by your work. But when you plug all these things in, you can hardly find an open page of the Bible that doesn't have in some way this idea of revival. So it was hard to put together this contributor list. It's drawn from 2,000 years and from different countries around the world. So a couple of little quick things there. This one here says, the Lord gave the word. Great was the company of those who proclaimed or published it. And then this interesting little one, Proverbs 14:4, where no oxen are, the trough is clean, or the stall is clean. If you want a nice, safe, tidy revival, then you have to get one from evil, because God messes things up when he comes. It simply says, if you want a nice perfume stall, don't put a live ox in it. Have you noticed what happens when you put live animals inside something? The floors get slippery after a while. And Azusa, out of which the Church of Life Assembly of God came, was a stable. It was originally a church, then it became a stable. And then God visited it, and many people compared it to the stable in Bethlehem where Jesus was born. And it just says this: revivals are messy and upsetting to people. And then when you light it all nice and tidy, God comes. I expect there to be some very strange, upsetting, disturbing things. The trouble with God is that he's not like you think he is. C.S. Lewis said, I know God cannot be a figment of my imagination because he's not at all the way I imagine him to be. Here's some of the contributors that we put there. They come from all streams of the Christian church. And you know how hard it is to put somebody whose life may have changed the world in like a paragraph or two? But there's some amazing... Some of these people are dead, but most of the people who read this won't know whether they are or not. So we had to put dates in, so you know you can't sort of call them or email them or text them. And they won't give you Facebook. The ones that are living are the scary ones. Now, when you're dead, your character is somewhat fixed. But here's some of the contributors we have. There's over 106 contributors from different nations, different places around the world. We have Puritans and Presbyterians, we have Baptists, Anabaptists, we have all kinds of cool people. We had one guy email a friend of mine. He said, I'd like to come down when Keith Green was alive. I'd like to come down. He was a friend of Leonard Ravenhouse, and Leonard mentored him a little bit. I was a close friend of his, and Keith died, and Leonard also died, but his kid, it was like a year later, he said, I'd like to come to Last Days and meet Charles Finney and Leonard Ravenhouse and Keith Green. I didn't have the heart to tell them they were all dead. The thing about the Holy Spirit is that he takes things of the past and he makes them live. And you can read a book where the Holy Spirit worked with somebody and it'll live for you again. And you won't care or know what time it came from. So we only put this out so people wouldn't call. And if you do call A.B. Simpson, we will deal with you severely afterwards about